What is up, guys? Welcome to lesson 3 of Game of Thrones English. In today's lesson, we are going to watch a clip with Brienne and Podrick. And in this clip, Brienne explains to Podrick why she was so in love with Renly.
I didn't want to go, but he dragged me to the ballroom. And it was wonderful. None of the boys noticed how mulish and tall I was.
All right, let's watch one more time and let's slow it down.
I didn't want to go, but he dragged me to the ballroom.
I didn't want to go, but he dragged me to the ballroom.
And it was wonderful.
And it was wonderful.
None of the boys noticed how mulish and tall I was.
None of the boys noticed how mulish and tall I was. Was? You're still tall and mulish.
I didn't want to go, but he dragged me to the ballroom.
Brienne says, I didn't want to go, but he dragged me to the ballroom. He made me go into the ballroom. Now, to drag has a few different meanings. As we saw in this scene, to drag can mean to make someone go to a place they don't want to go. For example, Mom dragged me to school.
No!
To drag can also mean to pull something along, pull something behind you. For example, the grumpy boy walked away and dragged his blanket behind him. And finally, you can call a person a drag. And if a person is a drag, it means they're boring or tiresome. One more example. My friend never wants to go anywhere. He is such a drag.
Big booty, but you got a big booty. Big booty, but you got a big booty.
And it was wonderful.
Then Brienne says, and it was wonderful. Now, there are many different words for wonderful. For instance, very good, marvelous, superb, glorious.
None of the boys noticed how mulish and tall I was.
And lastly, Brienne says, none of the boys noticed how mulish and tall I was. None of them recognized how mulish and tall she was. Now, some of you might think that mulish means that she looked like a mule. But in fact, mulish means that someone is stubborn, like a mule. For example, Brienne mulishly dragged Jaime to King's Landing. She stubbornly dragged him there and wouldn't let anything distract her from doing that. Now, ish means similar or like something. Mule-ish, like a mule. Child-ish, like a child. Ish can also be used to talk about time. If you know the exact time you will go somewhere, you could say, I'll be there at 8. If you don't know the exact time you'll be there, you could say, I'll be there at 8-ish, around 8. Here's another example.
3 hours later.
What up? You said 5. I said 5-ish. Ish. Alright guys, that will do it for our third lesson on Game of Thrones English. I hope you guys learned a little something, and please stay tuned for episode 4. See you next time. Peace!
Subscribe! 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 Subscribe!